Yo, 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 welcome back to another video. It's your boy Coreythemaan. We back in here. Uh, this is WWE wrestlers who reference their prior past, their prior roles in WWE. I probably said that all wrong. What is it? What is it? Their prior gimmick. Well, pretty much the same.
When WWE wrestlers reference a prior gimmick, The Undertaker. The Undertaker took the biggest risk of his career in the year 2000. Taker was going to leave the spooky dead man and phenom persona behind him in favor of a more realistic, grounded version of The Undertaker. The Undertaker would become the American Badass, and he would ride into the ring on a motorcycle and raise hell. On paper, this sounds like it could be received poorly, yet ultimately the Attitude Era fans absolutely loved it. The character was engaging, and it still managed to keep the aura and credibility that The Undertaker had worked so hard on maintaining over the prior decade. One of the things that made the character work so well was that WWE and The Undertaker would indirectly reference the prior gimmicks. The Undertaker would love to use the line, "I'm still down with the devil," of course implying that Taker is still in touch with his darker side, and his prior lore of the character remained intact completely. It also helped that WWE prepped the audience for this change. In the final few months before his WWE exit in '99, The Undertaker would virtually soft launch this character, and although it was confusing at the time, it was clear what WWE were doing, and this was an incredibly smart move. When Taker reverted to the Dead Man in 2004, numerous American Badass features were kept. These include the style of the in-ring attire, as well as a primary moveset. And finally, in 2020, all prior characters would merge into one, as The Undertaker delivered his most grounded character to date, as The Undertaker portrayed a persona
Manly bands can send you this ring sizer. He can pick a size and wear it throughout the day to make sure it's the perfect fit through
known as the Holy Trinity, which represented the Dead Man, the American Badass, and Mark Calloway. Jinder Mahal. One of Jinder Mahal's first gimmicks in WWE saw him enter into a partnership with the Great Khali. This partnership didn't exactly lead to anything substantial, but it was a smart move for WWE to pair Mahal with a former world champion for his TV debut. Fast forward to Mahal's infamous run as WWE champion in 2017, and in shocking fashion, Khali returned to WWE to assist Mahal in retaining the title in a Punjabi prison match against Randy Orton. This was the first time in years that the relationship had been alluded to, and in a WWE digital promo, Mahal stated that Khali was his grand plan. Whilst this acted continuity in reference to Mahal's debut gimmick was appreciated, it went absolutely nowhere. Mahal and Khali wouldn't even continue their on-screen partnership, so the whole angle was completely pointless. WWE clearly needed a way of keeping the title on Mahal without making one of their top stars, that being Orton, look weak, so they decided to bring back Khali for this brief pay-per-view cameo. Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was one of the greatest wrestling minds to ever live. The creativity Wyatt had was truly unmatched, and Wyatt always thought out every last element of his characters. Before Wyatt debuted the beloved Bray Wyatt persona, he would use a gimmick known as Husky Harris. This gimmick would appear on the main roster, would even be a part of the Nexus faction. This character had a short shelf life, mainly because the persona was completely flat and lacked any substance or compelling motivations. Or when Harris turned into Wyatt, it was expected that WWE would act like Harris's character never existed. But this is Wyatt we're talking about, and Wyatt made a conscious effort to try and logically explain what the Harris character was, and how he ended up as a sinister and borderline demonic cult leader. Two specific tweets from the late great Wyatt stand out. One of them was from 2021, and he tweeted during his feud with Randy Orton, "Someday someone will break you so badly that you'll become unbreakable." The tweet also contained an image of Orton punk kicking him from when he was a Harris character. This was a genius tweet, as it heavily implied that Orton kicking him in the head and taking him off TV really made him the way he was. 2 years prior, also via a tweet, Wyatt seemed to imply that his psychological issues began when he was paired with Cody Rhodes on the game show format of NXT. Cody Rhodes did that. He was his partner. He trusted him. He was ridiculed in front of the world for someone else's failed attempt at fame. It destroyed him, and from his ashes, a butterfly was born, but the memory remains. When it comes to references on WWE TV, one of the main times the prior character was mentioned was directly by John Cena. During the 2020 feud between Cena and Wyatt, Cena outright stated that Wyatt was Husky Harris in a mask. This was significant, as it was a case of WWE outright declaring that these two characters were the same human being, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And there are hardly any similarities between Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Ringmaster. That is with the exception of the movesets, as there is noticeably a crossover between the two. WWE would like to reference the ringmaster from time to time, and this usually came from Jim Ross, who was prone to focusing on continuity when it came to characters, particularly during the Attitude Era. During the WrestleMania 17 main event, The Rock and Austin were delivering a classic for a WWE title, and when Austin applied the $1 Million Dream, JR outright stated that Austin was using a move from his days as the ringmaster. It was a wonderful touch, and it heavily hinted at a heel turn that was set to come just minutes later. Drew McIntyre. Upon returning to WWE in 2017, they were reserved in mentioning that prior to leaving the company years prior, Drew McIntyre played the role of a comedic rock star in 3MB. Due to how awful this gimmick was, this made a lot of sense, yet it was in 2020 that this illusion was fully shattered on TV, as WWE delivered an outstanding promo between then WWE champ McIntyre and fellow former 3MB member Heath Slater. The segment basically recapped their entire real-life history, and it was tremendous character work from both men that added a ton of depth to both of their respective characters. Bo Dallas. When Bo Dallas resurfaced as a spooky Uncle Howdy character in the summer of 2024, there were questions surrounding whether WWE would actually address the fact that Dallas and Howdy were in fact the same person. Fans quickly got their answer, as just 2 weeks into their storyline, they broadcasted a sit-down meeting between Dallas and Howdy. In the segment, which received widespread praise, Dallas was asked by Howdy how it felt when his brother Bray Wyatt died. WWE making Dallas canon as the one behind the Wyatt 6 faction was a welcome move. Dallas is an incredibly gifted performer, and he's been able to shine when given these emotional promo segments where he can fully explain the motivations of the multiple characters attached to him. They could have just easily acted like Dallas had nothing to do with the storyline, yet this gave the Uncle Howdy angle that emotional weight. Everyone loved Bray Wyatt, so referencing his passing and Dallas talking openly about how much it impacted him adds so much more substance to what is already an incredibly hot angle. Roman Reigns. During Roman Reigns' days as a babyface in WWE, they struggled to understand why on earth the fans were struggling to connect with him. The main reason for the lack of connection was WWE's presentation and booking of him was disingenuous. The best characters in pro wrestling are traditionally when a wrestler plays an extension of themselves, yet this clearly wasn't the real Roman Reigns, as he often looked uncomfortable in the babyface role. After a break from TV during the COVID-19 era, Reigns would return to WWE programming at the 2020 SummerSlam. Thankfully, WWE finally pulled the trigger on changing Reigns' character as he would turn heel, and he was now playing an exaggerated version of himself. This character was unbelievable, and it was a major contributing factor for the WWE boom that we've all been witnessing in the recent years. Outside of Reigns' work with The Shield, WWE haven't likened to reference Reigns' prior babyface persona. It's almost as if they're ashamed of it, and for good reason. However, in 2023, in a promo on SmackDown, LA Knight decided to reference the infamous Suffering Succotash promo. This was a truly hilarious moment, as Reigns as well as Paul Heyman looked completely embarrassed that LA would mention such a terrible promo segment from Reigns' babyface days. And Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes' Stardust gimmick was never going to see the light of day in 2022. When Rhodes returned to WWE, Rhodes had become a major player outside the WWE bubble, so there was no chance in hell that they were going to give him a lower mid-card gimmick that contributed to him leaving in the first place. But with that being said, WWE and Rhodes haven't tried to pretend that Rhodes wasn't the one behind the dreaded character. From Rhodes' very first match back, that being against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 38, Rhodes would throw in numerous Stardust taunts, which was a nice touch, as while Stardust was an abysmal character, it was still a key part of Rhodes' story. A reference of the gimmick was delivered by Rhodes in an outstanding promo in May of 2022. This took place during his feud with Rollins, and this is the line that referenced the Stardust persona. I scratched, I clawed, I painted my face with a smile, dead inside, looking up at the lights most nights. But the thing is, I endured. This line is incredibly well written, as it explains the Stardust character to the audience, while also adding the current incarnation of Rhodes' American Nightmare persona. But there you have it, folks. Notable times WWE reference a wrestler's prior gimmick. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Alright. Thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Y'all stay tuned.